Yeah.
Elijah Thomas and Zion Kearney. Just how have you sort of seen them stay patient and improve throughout the season?
Yeah, I mean, they have stayed patient. They've consistently worked at practice. I think Elijah's found a good little niche right there on the special teams where he can have a huge impact and a role in the game while still developing as a receiver and within the system. So I'm really proud of him. Again, it's a developmental game, and he understands that, and he attacks it every day. And a lot of the same with Zion, just being consistent out at practice, being engaged during practice, and continuing to develop and get better.
Yeah, Ben, last night John was talking about he needs to just take more of the easy stuff that maybe he's not always seeing that. How do you, as his coach and play caller, maybe help him see some of that easy stuff that maybe he's not taking right now?
Yeah, it's just whenever you're in practice, not overlooking it, because sometimes whenever you get in practice, you want to, against a different look, you want to make a different throw and make sure, I feel comfortable making this throw in this moment. And you just can't lose sight of taking the easy access out there. You can't go broke taking a profit. It's a saying in football. It's a saying for offenses pretty much everywhere in the entire world. And you can't lose sight of that. So taking the easy access, just the layups right there to keep us efficient on schedule and in manageable situations. I mean, that's really a big key to staying on the field while also still being aggressive and not being scared to, take the ball downfield. We got to connect on some of those opportunities too, but it starts with taking the easy stuff, being efficient, getting the ball out of your hand, and going on to the next play.
Yeah, Ben, you guys haven't been able to have Troy Everett on the field since early in the season, but I'm curious, behind the scenes, what's his leadership continue to mean to your offensive line, the growth of that group, and your offense as a whole?
Yeah, even though we haven't had Troy on the field, his impact has still been felt throughout the building. It's been felt throughout practice. He's a veteran guy who's played a lot of ball with a ton of leadership and a ton of wisdom to give, and he gives it. He still holds those young offensive linemen accountable. If they screw something up or something simple like they're late to a O-line meeting for whatever reason, right? Just something like that. He still does an unbelievable job of holding them accountable. So his impact is still felt. He's still a captain of this team, and he's done an unbelievable job being a leader throughout his injury.
Yeah, Ben, early on in your career here, you've had a couple 1,000-yard receivers. Isaiah seems like he has a chance to maybe get to that mark. Beyond just his reliability that we've talked about a lot, what's made him so effective this season?
Yeah, I think he has an awesome skill set. If you look back to when he was at high school, all right, he was a 100-meter champion, can roll whenever he gets out in the open field, hits a runner. I mean, you saw it the other day. Whenever he gets out in the open field and hits his stride, he's really hard to catch. And so that's a special skill set right there. But I think his route running, he's very crisp. He's very crafty in his route running and the ability to get open and, has really good hands. At the end of the day, he's what you want a lot of receivers to be, just from a holistic standpoint. And so tackle that on with the reliability that he has shown all year and the consistency that he's shown all year. I mean, it's just put him in a position to be have a lot of success. And the coolest part about Isaiah, he's really pretty humble about all of it too. He just shows back up and starts the process all over. So, glad we have that guy.
Yeah, I got one. Ben, last few weeks, the offense first quarter has not been great, taking a while to get going. What can you do to generate some productivity early in the game?
Find better ways to get us in rhythm. Find better ways to get the football in our playmakers' hands, get the ball moving forward, stay positive, stay ahead of the chains, be efficient. And I can do that. I can find just better ways to get those guys in rhythm, more comfortable, get them into the flow of the game quicker because it needs to happen quicker. But from my standpoint, that's how I can do that. And that's starting off in practice, getting really confident in our drive starters, getting really confident in our, third and medium, third and short menu, just continuing to rep those, get confident in those, have the guys in the right positions to be successful. That's how I can do that.
A lot of coaches, it seems like more and more, are using the term rhythm. Drink used it a bunch Saturday night after the game. What exactly does that mean?
Yeah.
What does that mean and what does that look like?
Yeah, that's a really good question to define rhythm. But what it is, I think it starts one with, the quarterback. Is he getting the ball out of his hand? Does he look confident get the ball out of his hand? Do the receivers catch, knife, get vertical? Is the offensive line generating good movement? Are we confident running the football? Are we getting movement with it? All of that stuff generates that rhythm that coaches talk about. And, ultimately staying ahead of the chains and being efficient is they're the same thing. They parallel each other. And so that's kind of what it is, and that's things that you can do to have a really good flow offensively, and things that we got to continue to get better at.
Ben, LSU, it's been an up and down year for them, but defensively it seems like they've been pretty solid
just
across the board. What stands out?
I think it starts with their DC, Blake Baker. I mean, he's about as respected as anyone in the country as a defensive mind. Just his track record, his resume, and the product that he continues to put on the field. Everywhere he's been, every year he's done it. They're a unit that plays confident together. A lot of times it looks like they're all 11 playing in sync. And whenever you do that, and then you add on the multiplicity that they do on defense, I mean that's why they're so good. That's why offenses have a tough time with them. But they seem really confident in this scheme. It's an aggressive scheme, and those kids they play hard for him. So he's done a great job forever. He's well respected, and his players, they're a direct reflection of him.
Yeah, Ben, the plan going in was to have the 4-game redshirt for Michael Hawkins. You clearly did that. Now it's not going to matter the rest of the way. So what was accomplished by doing that, and maybe what sort of freedom do you have knowing that now Hawkins can go out there when you would like it to?
Yeah, with John as our starting quarterback, you and Mike still having the ability to redshirt, you don't want to, put a young man in like a compromising position where he loses, maybe a year of eligibility to play football. And I thought we were really, really good with how we managed Mike, in those situations, and how we had, managed Witt in those situations too. And all that does now is just, Mike's an explosive playmaker. He can make some stuff happen. He's, a great kid, a hard worker. And, if the moment is called upon and he has to go in there, there's a lot of confidence that he can go in there and operate and make things happen. So, Mike's a great teammate. He has handled this season so good. Just being ready and, being ready to play, being ready whenever he had to be the starter, so he's ready for every moment, and, proud of Mike.
Yeah, Ben, John had a lot more deeper passes attempted on Saturday. Just what did you see from the deep passing game, and how can you get more success out of it moving forward?
Yeah, defensively they were giving us some opportunities to take some one-on-one shots right there. And, we got to connect on, a few of those. You can't expect to connect on all of them, but, just being better from him on ball placement, ball trajectory. There are a few times the receivers you'd like to see a little bit more separation, but, it goes both ways. We had to just continue, getting in sync on it and pushing the ball down the field, because you do that, it opens up more things underneath, opens up stuff in the box for the run game. So we just have to do a better job of executing those moments.
As you prepare for the final game of the regular season, how do you evaluate the growth of Xavier Robinson and other running backs from week 1 to now?
Yeah. With X, it's kind of weird, kind of been a weird season for him, right? Fall camp was kind of banged up for a lot of it, and that kind of carried over into the beginning of the season a little bit. But as he got going, you only saw him get stronger. X might be the toughest player on our offense. Just his gritty performance the other day. So I'm proud of him. I'm proud of everything he does as a running back, catching the ball out of the backfield, being physical whenever he gets the ball in his hands. His pass protection has been spot on. And then a lot of other guys have been kind of dinged up for the majority of the year, but Torrey just being a true freshman and some of the things that he's done this year, and always being ready and always being ready to go in and operate and execute, is something that, again, I've said about him is just invaluable for a true freshman. And so I'm really, really proud of that running back room, the strides they continue to take, and we have to just keep on getting them better, getting them ready to play, and watch them go out and compete on Saturdays.
Yeah, Ben, we see Brent's passion
maybe tell us what it's like to work alongside him day to day and how that maybe rubs off on the rest of the group?
Yeah, I mean, all the intensity and passion that y'all see in games and stuff, I mean, it's like that in the building 24/7. It's a mindset, and it's a culture, and it's a culture that, flows throughout our entire building. And what he does for the coaches and what he does for the players, just getting their minds right and getting them ready to go out and play and compete and operate. It's something you can't put a value on it. It's something that he breathes into everybody, and he's the ultimate competitor. He's the ultimate juice guy. He's the ultimate motivator for coaches and players alike. And I think you see that with how our kids play, on the field every single day. So there's a lot of appreciation to him, the man he is, and the coach that he is.
Ryan, you mentioned Xavier's toughness. How has this last couple weeks been just balancing, knowing that he's going to be there for you, but also knowing he's not 100% and trying to get what you need to get out of the running game while not putting too much on a guy that's fighting through some stuff?
Yeah, I mean, again, you wouldn't have known on Monday whenever he walked in there and said, no, I'm playing. I mean, the week he had of practice, he did everything. And is he 100%? No, probably not. But we're also in week 12 of the season. There's not a lot of people in the country that are 100%. He just keeps putting his head down and going to work and competing and you never hear a complaint out of him. I mean, he's a kind of a quiet-natured guy, and he just goes and attacks the work. So, it's a mindset, and he's as tough as they come, and proud to get to be his coach, and proud to have him on our team.
Ben, all year, you've had some with Tier's injury. It kind of changed the offense a little bit. I'm curious, going into the last game, do you really know what the identity of your offense is? I mean, it seems like that would be hard to really come up with the Tier's injury as he's trying to come back with it.
Yeah, I think the identity of our offense is doing what winning requires, playing smart, complementary football. We're not turning the ball over. We're, running the ball pretty effectively. We need to be a little bit more efficient, be a little bit more detailed, and that's where explosive plays will start happening. But, at the end of the day, you have to constantly do what winning requires, and our guys have bought into that big time. They're the ones winning these games. They're not putting everybody in compromising positions. Would you like it to be more explosive? Absolutely, 100%. And there's things that I can do better, and there's little details and execution things that can always be better. But at the end of the day, this is a tough group who goes out there. They play physical. They do what winning requires, and they compete their butt off every single week. That's the identity, is go out there and figure out a way to win the football game.
So, at the beginning of the season, one of the things we talked about was the depth you had at the running back position. And we were like, well, are you going to try to work it down to maybe one or two guys, or are you going to try to do a kind of running back by committee thing? Well, now, at this point, you've got one guy getting almost all the action, and he's hurt. Is there reason for concern? There's a couple of guys that we know have some talent, but aren't playing and aren't on the injury report. So I guess my question is there reason for concern in terms of having enough healthy guys or guys that you feel comfortable playing, considering the fact that the guy that got most of the action was already injured?
That was kind of a long-winded one right there. You're saying we have a lot of running backs, but only one guy's playing, and why is that?
Yes.
Okay, all right. Yeah, at the end of the day, I think we have some talented guys in that room who have shown in different spots this year that they're extremely capable, extremely talented, and really good football players. Situationally throughout the flow of the game, you want to make sure you have the right guys in these moments, and that's what it comes down to ultimately. Is having the right guys in there in the right moments, and we can always look back and evaluate and find out. Can we put someone else in this moment? Can we give them a breather here or there? That's our job as coaches. But again, same thing about that running back room. They come, they attack, and they're really a pretty quiet-natured bunch who just do the work really, really well, set the tone for a lot of things, and I couldn't be more proud of that room.